Are you tired of hearing about how amazing every single franchise is and that people make money despite what franchise it is? In today's video, I want to share with you 20 franchises with over 500 locations that during the last couple of years, they've closed more than 10% of their locations. So stay tuned as I go through some industry giants, including Subway and Pizza Hut, that have closed 10% plus of their total units, and some of them have closed hundreds, if not thousands, of locations throughout the past 3 or so years. In order to do this study, we looked at franchise brands that had at least 500 units at the end of 2019. And what we found that was there were at least 20 that had closed 50 plus locations over the last 3 years. So we're gonna go through one by one. And some of these are going to surprise you. Some of these brands you've never heard of, but they're well known in their unique industry. And we're going to share with you how many locations closed, the change in unit growth, basically the net decrease in locations, as well as the percentage on the recording year going back to 2019. So kind of the base year here. So N2 Publishing, I honestly had never heard of it. A franchise that sells advertising to businesses, print magazines, newsletters, directories. They had a decrease of 33%. So 33% decrease in locations, 1/3 of their locations wiped out, and they lost 312 locations. Liberty Tax, big franchise, one of the top 10 franchises in the United States, lost over 1,000 locations, and about 1/3 of their franchises closed in the last 3 years. CleanNet, commercial cleaning business, lost 600 franchisees, and about 30% of their units closed over the past 3 years. Fantastic Sam's, a pretty large haircut franchise, closed 248 locations, and about 1/4 of their locations ceased to exist and no longer are around over the last 3 years. GNC, as you can imagine, a lot of people are buying online. They're not buying their supplements, vitamins in store. They had a decrease of 248 locations, representing 24% decrease in their system. Edible Arrangements, they had a net decrease of 19%. And in terms of total unit count, it went down 206 over the past 3 years. Regal Nail Salons and Spa also lost 125 locations, 17% decrease. H&R Block, down over 500 locations. So that's net decrease. They've closed over 700 locations over the past 3 years. However, they also opened up, say 200. So the net decrease was 500 down for H&R Block. And that means that they're opening some, but a lot are closing for H&R Block. And now the franchise that closed the most stores also happens to be the franchise with the most locations in the United States, and that's Subway. Subway had a net decrease in unit count of 3,600. So they're still opening hundreds of locations a year, but they closed well over 4,000 locations over the past 3 years and got totally killed by COVID, with 15% decrease from the numbers they had in 2019 to what they have today. Pizza Hut also had a 14% decrease in locations. They closed 829 plus stores. EconoLodge, Century 21, Church's Chicken. These are all brands that lost at least 10% of their franchise system and had a decrease in unit count of at least 10% over the prior 3 years. And even Warren Buffett lost big with some of his investments during this COVID pandemic, with Dairy Queen Treat, one of the Dairy Cream models, having over 100 locations closed throughout the United States, and a 10% decrease in their net unit count. There are other franchises like Jazzercise that lost 730 franchisees throughout the pandemic, and other brands. If you're curious to see the complete list, click on the link to our blog post so you can see brand by brand to see what the net unit change is and what was the change in the units. There are amazing franchises out there, but don't be oversold by whoever's selling you a franchise. Check the numbers for yourself. You can trust, but verify. And we provide the numbers in a pretty easy way on our website, vettedbiz.com, but check with the franchise disclosure document. And if you're in the process of investing in a franchise, have a lot of conversations with existing franchisees as well.